Hello, my name is Steve Gerhardt, and this is the Unagi Observer. Thank you very much for stopping by and watching this week. This week is going to be a little bit different in that I'm not actually reviewing anything or talking about a specific historical event or anything like that. I just have just a little bit of time because I'm going into a new show for the theater that I work at, Chesapeake Shakespeare Company, and we're doing the Scottish play by Shakespeare. If you're confused as to what that is, look it up, Scottish play by Shakespeare. It'll give you the title and it'll give you the reason why I'm calling it the Scottish play. So that's your homework. Anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is a personal thing that I love that I don't get to see that much anymore because of various reasons, and that is fan parodies. I love fan parodies. I also love AMVs. The reason why I really like these things is because it showcases how ingenious and how creative people can get when they're given different medium to work with. Fan parodies, what are they? So basically they fall into a bunch of different categories, but the two really big main categories are compilations and fan dubs. Now the fan dubs can go down into a lot of other subcategories, but basically a fan dub is when you take an episode or an anime movie and you redub it with different scripts to it, to either make it more funny, to make it more serious, or just to make it weird. There's, a lot of people do that. Most people like to do it in terms of making it funny. One of the biggest ones out there is, of course, Evangelion Redeath. It's one of the most popular ones. It's one of the earlier ones. It just takes Evangelion, takes the whole series, and just makes it so hilarious. There are different versions of it online. There's an hour-long version. I think there's a 90-minute version. I think there's a 45-minute version. If you ever get a chance to see it, go watch it. Most conventions, a lot of conventions that still have fan parodies, not a whole lot do anymore, unfortunately. If they have it, they usually have that. Compilations are, basically things like another popular one, which is AMV Hell. And basically all it is just short, very short clips, anywhere from 2 to 3 seconds to 10 seconds of something happening, and either there's a fan dub over it or there's some quirky music that actually makes the clip funny. So it could be a totally serious clip and you have some totally funny dialogue or funny audio, and it just makes it funnier. Weird, gross, sexist sometimes. Sometimes they get a little fan servicey. But anyway, you get the idea. Basically, it's just people just taking something, mashing it up, and creating something unique. And that's one of the best things about fan parodies that I like. It's the uniqueness of it. So some of the more episodic ones, like for example, sometimes people take Full Metal Alchemist or maybe Dragon Ball Z, and while they're 20 to 25 minute episodes, they'll cut them down to like 10-15 minutes just because it's just easier that way, and they repurpose the whole anime, the whole episode, to something else entirely just by dialogue and creative editing. Same thing with Evangelion Redeath. And the videos like that are AMV Hell, they literally are just, sometimes people get drunk and they do stuff. Have I done that before? Maybe. Or they just do these little clips just because they're funny. It's something to pass the time, but they're really fun and they're really great. Now, as you heard me mention, it's kind of hard to find them anymore, number one, online. And number two, a lot of conventions don't do them, unfortunately, anymore. And the biggest reason behind it is due to basically intellectual property rights, licensing, things of that nature, which is really unfortunate. YouTube, back when it first started, way back in the early 2000s, even before that, in MySpace, people would make these things, these fan parodies, and they throw them up online on these new platforms. And they took off. People loved them. They were great, hilarious. They made you laugh, and you go to the convention, and sometimes you even have contests on them. It was a really good time. But then after a while, the production companies discovered, oh, hey, this is not making me money. And so they would come in and they would license or put a stop or make the platform, inform the platform that they could not air their product without their permission. When YouTube started monetizing, like seriously monetizing channels, that's when it really hit the fan, because then the production companies, the licensing companies were looking at it and going, I am not making any money off of this. Therefore, if I'm not making money, you can't make any money. And it fell into one of two categories. The rare category of you find an anime that you can actually put on YouTube, but then you get the prompt that says you can't monetize that video. So you can't make any money off that video. Or they just say you can't use it, and they tell you that if you continue to use it, that you'll be kicked off of YouTube. Or whatever platform it is that you happen to be on. So as a result, unfortunately, that made a lot of people stop doing them. And that's really unfortunate, because it's a really good creative outlet, and I really enjoy them, as do other people. For example, Otaku is kind of off and on whether or not they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it at this year, and that's kind of saying something, because they didn't do it last year. I think either the year before or last year. And that's really saying something, because Otaku is one of the biggest, conventions on the East Coast, anime conventions. And if they're not willing to deal with the licensing of that and the intellectual property of that, and trying to get people to, get permission and things like that, then of course they're not going to want to do it, because they don't want to get sued, and why would they? So I don't really blame them. I don't really blame people wanting to protect their intellectual property. I don't blame people for wanting to make their own money. But there comes at a certain time when you look at things like AMVL or Redeath, or someone doing just a redubbing of something, and you just have to go, they're not really doing it to make money. They're really just doing it for the fun of it. And can't there be some way to, make that distinction? Oh, they're not making money off of it, so why don't we just give them a pass? Just go ahead and do it. That's fine. I know that's a utopian society kind of feel to it. So I feel bad that today's generations of up-and-coming anime enthusiasts, or otaku, if you really want to be that way, or nerds, or geeks, or whatever, as those upcoming generations are coming up, I feel like they're missing out on something, that they can do, that they can show to other people, which is making something creative, doing something with their own talents, and just showcasing it. So, will fan parodies completely die out? I hope not. I don't know. I'll have to see how things go in the future, how streaming goes for anime, how anime is going to be able to financially continue in the future. That is a very large concern, and that actually is going to impact whether or not people can do fan parodies or even AMVs at this point. So, who knows? Who can tell? But if you're one of those people who likes putting those things together, maybe for yourself, or maybe you want to go underground and maybe, find anime clubs that'd be willing to, play your 10-minute thing of whatever that thing is, whether you decide to do a comedy out of Grave of the Fireflies, see how well that flies. No pun intended. And, who knows? Maybe it turns into underground. If that's the case, I'm all for it. For any one of you guys out there who do fan parodies and you're looking for a place to put it, maybe we should get together and see if we can't make an underground club for fan parodies. Why not? Okay, again, my name is Steve Gearhart. This is the Unagi Observer. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. I would love it if you subscribed. I would give you a digital taco if I could, with all the toppings that you want. Okay, enough of that. See you guys next week, and think about making fan parodies.
This song is called I Am Sad, so very, very sad. So sad! Thank you. This next one's called We Hate You, Please Die.
I'm naked.